Come and play with us. Come and play with us. This is Kubrick's universe.
So many answers we may never know. Too many questions, get on with the show. No time for the chorus, only this verse. It's Kubrick's universe. All right. It's Kubrick's universe.
Open the podcast doors, Hal.
It's Kubrick's Universe, the Stanley Kubrick Podcast.
So, by now, many or perhaps most of you are familiar with the story of Leon Vitali and have seen the brilliant and moving documentary directed by Tony Sierra called Filmworker, which chronicles Leon's nearly 40 years as Stanley Kubrick's dependable and trusted right-hand man. Leon is a human treasure trove of insight and wisdom about what it was like working with the genius filmmaker, the family man, the friend. He's shared a lot with our show already, but then, a few months back, in December 2019, we thought it'd be cool to get him in on a little bit of a practical joke we'd been thinking up. But while we were never about to do an episode that would make people who took our call look bad, we did have an idea how to do a series of prank calls to members of the Stanley Kubrick Appreciation Society on Facebook who had no idea why we'd be calling, just that we wanted them to be on the show for a chance to connect with listeners and Kubrick fans. So we reached out to Leon Vitali, told him our premise of having him remain silently on the line while we asked each person 2 questions. In 100 words or less, can you tell us what drew you to Stanley Kubrick? And if you ever had the chance to ask Leon Vitali a question, do you have an idea what it might be? None of the participants had any idea of this second question in advance of our call, and they had no idea that Leon sat listening quietly in on the joke the whole time until we brought him in with a cue of me doing a silly sound effect of a telephone ringing. And away we go.
Hello?
Hello? Is this Ollie?
Hello?
Hey, is this
It
Ollie?
is, yes.
Hey, how you doing, man?
It is.
Cool.
Not too bad.
Right on. It's Jason Furlong and the gang from Kubrick's Universe.
Yeah. I thought I'd guessed it was you lot.
So, okay, man.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks so much for taking part in the show. We got
No problem.
2 questions for you, and the first of which is in about 100 words or less. Can you tell us what drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
Certainly. Originally, it was the practical aspects with a bait on the hook, but it was the questions Stanley raised on the human condition that kept me there. Not in the sense of answers ever being given, but in the fact that through his films he often confessed to not knowing the answers himself. 2001 being the finest example of this. I mean, how could mankind comprehend what it would be like to meet extraterrestrials? 2001 isn't an arrogant work, it's the purest expression of human ignorance, putting mankind squarely in its place. And I think this is what makes Stanley Kubrick one of the humblest directors in history.
Hear, hear.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's beautifully said, Ollie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
I think it's actually 2 words above 100, but never mind.
listen, we'll let it slide.
Thanks.
So, you know, obviously, as a lifelong fan of Kubrick's, I'm sure you're familiar with his long-standing right-hand man, the great Leon Vitali.
Certainly.
Did you get a chance to see Filmworker, the documentary?
I did, yes, and recently brought a copy of it as well when I went to the exhibition, Stanley Kubrick exhibition, because I loved it very much.
Nice. What did you think of it? You loved it?
Yeah, it was just fascinating to hear it really from the man who we don't hear from enough, really. We never heard enough from him, just the occasional interview coming up on I always wanted to hear much more about how he felt when he was working with Kubrick and what his role really was.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you ever had the chance to speak with Leon, do you know what question you would ask him?
I think I do, yes.
You do?
Yes.
You know what? Hang on a second.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, is that Leon?
It is.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Absolutely.
Always great to hear your voice, my friend. We've got a good friend named Ali Oz Edwards on the line. You want to say hi?
Absolutely. Hi.
Hello, Leon. Very, very nice to talk to you.
Yes, it's nice to talk to you too. And I must say, I'll admit I was eavesdropping on your answer
Right.
to what drew you to Stanley. I think it's one of the most, really the most, well, for want of a better word, intelligent, answers I've heard about, what drew him to Stanley. It really,
Thank you very
really
much.
is. I felt the very same thing. And the thing is, of all the people in the world who I've worked with, I can honestly say I've never met anyone quite as much the human being that Stanley was. He was very humble in many ways.
It's amazing. Good to hear. Yeah, I've read him that way. So that's incredible. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
given your recent viewing of Filmworker, Ali, is there a specific question that comes to mind? You can take a moment to think about it, but feel free to ask Leon. He's happy to answer.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'd be slightly on the spot myself. I was a very aspiring filmmaker when I was young. I went to college and then ended up at university as well to study it. Unfortunately, I wasn't very well for quite some time. I won't go into that. And everything took a bit of a backstep for quite some time. And I've kept up with the industry. I've kept up with learning about lenses and cameras and the latest movements. And
Right.
I still want to get my career going myself, really. And even if it's just doing what you did, straight in at the ground up and working all the way up to do whatever I can do, what would be your advice to someone who's had a bit of a setback for a number of years and just really wants to go gung-ho and get going again, just in the same route that you went when you originally did it?
I had an advantage a little bit in that I was an actor, so I was kind of in at that end of it. From the very beginning, and it was by the grace of whoever it is up there that I actually met Stanley and worked for him as an actor, and that's where that sort of opened up for me. But I would say the same thing as I've said to lots of people, aspiring people, who want to make films or be involved with it in some way, and that is, love for it is one thing, and it's very valuable commodity to have, but I think the only thing that compares with that is perseverance and your belief in what you want to do, and it's really, there's no set formula for it. I wish there was, but there isn't, and I think it's very much a sort of eyes and ears job, and keep tracking and keep sort of trying to keep in touch with what's actually going on, and whatever you want to do, I mean, there are ways in, I suppose, sort of working as production assistants, which, it's not it's not a career sort of life choice, but it's a way to get in, and it may not pay, or may only pay expenses at first, but it would be genuinely well worth it to get involved in some way like that.
Well, luckily I've got some opportunity. I live in Stratford-upon-Avon, so with the theatre around, there's many opportunities to get in touch with people, I think, and maybe start networking and keep it up in that respect.
absolutely. And you know, I think I know a lot of people who've come from, you know, absolutely divorced from, you know, the notion of working in films until they got interested. They've had no kind of contact with it whatsoever, but somehow they've managed to squeeze themselves in, and you know, and it's a great. I won't tell you it's lovely all the time.
I can imagine,
but it's so rewarding. I mean, it really is. I mean, just to know that you're a part of something creative and something that, you know, will you know, have a resonance with many people. It's just to keep talking and keep listening, and you know, with that in mind, and hopefully you'll be able to make some kind of contact. But I've got to say, you live in one of my old stamping grounds, because that's really where my interest started. Was, you know, we used to get taken to the theatre at Stratford a lot. So, you know, it's something that is almost in my blood.
That's why I was quite taken aback when I was watching Filmworker and I saw the shot of the street with the dirty duck just up from the theatre, and I just immediately went, hang on, that's Stratford. That's where I live.
It's a lovely place to live, I think.
I love it. Well, it's interesting because you'd actually explained during the podcast that you explained how it was lovely in the evening when the sun was setting, but sometimes it was quite often raining at this point. And just as you were saying that, I was looking out of my window of my house, or my flat, sorry, and it was just that weather. It was raining and everything. And I thought, yep, he's absolutely right.
And then you got a chance to talk with him.
Exactly, and this is amazing. It's a great experience to actually be able to talk to someone I very, very much admire.
Well, I am going to turn you loose, let you gentlemen say so long to each other. Perhaps we'll get a chance to do it again.
Great.
Ali, I can't thank you enough for being part of the call. We're going to...
no problem.
We're going to sign off, and...
Thanks very much, Leon.
It's been really nice talking to you, and I can't wish you enough of all the best, and I hope that you achieve something that you feel proud of.
Thanks ever so much. That's great of you to say.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Ollie.
Thanks, Ali. Our pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Wow, thanks, Leon. That's great.
Welcome. I mean, sweet.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
All right. And we kept that under the time limits. Perfect. So, Stephen, who do we got next?
We got next James Robert Sherman in the USA. I'm not sure exactly where, but his phone number starts with 415.
I think he's California. I think he's up in the San Francisco area.
San Francisco, yeah. Wonder if he lives in Haight-Ashbury.
I don't know. There's probably a Starbucks there now where all the hippies used to, you know.
Many of them.
Yeah.
I'm calling him now. Sorry, calling him now. If he's waiting for the call, he'll be picking up.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, is this James?
Yes. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Jason from the Kubrick's Universe podcast. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, Jason, that's right. Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, I saw Unknown, dude. So it's like I always get these the telemarketers and shit like that. So it's like, yeah, what can I do for you, man?
Yeah, exactly. No, well, I mean, I'm glad you picked it up. You know, it could have been a bill collector, but no, we got you. We got you. I'm glad you picked up. So we're doing this.
Okay.
We're doing this cool segment. Well, you know, we think it's cool. Real quick, say hi to Stephen, the producer. He's on the line too.
Stephen Rigg. Rigg.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Stephen. I've seen your name a million times. I've seen yours a million times, Jason. How are you guys doing?
Good,
yeah,
man.
very good, James. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I just want to mention Stephen, of course, founded the Stanley Kubrick Appreciation Society. What was it? Over 8 years ago now. And also, you know, like, two guys who've been essential in keeping that group, the cream of the crop. I got on the phone with us, James Marinaccio. You want to say hi, bro?
Hey, James.
Hey, James. How are you guys?
Good. Nice to hear your voice.
Now, James, you will know James as Nick Fugazi on the group.
Oh yeah, Nick. I know Nick.
Nick is James. James is Nick.
Yeah.
We call him Nick James. And hey, Mark Lentz, one of the admins, of course, and a dear friend. Say hi, man.
Hi, James. Yeah, Mark Lentz, junior admin.
I know all you guys by name and reputation. Okay.
Well, James and I are also, like, it seems, diehard Bob Dylan freaks. So that's a cool thing.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah. So listen, man. We're gonna have 2 questions for you, and it's pretty simple, straightforward stuff. My first question is, in about 100 words or less, can you tell us what drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
That's a good question. And if I had known, I would have been better prepared for this question. But it's like, that is a really good question. In so many words, what I like about him is the beauty of his perfection. I don't know a better way to describe that, and it sounds like probably BS, but it's like I sound like an undergrad, but it's like, I'm the beauty of his perfection. Even within Fear and Desire, okay, there is a beauty of his perfection. Now, granted, Fear or Desire is not comparable to his later films, but you could still see the spark of it. You could still see the essence of his trying to get it right. Okay. And so for me, okay, it's just the beauty of his perfection. There's a perfection that's unspeakable, like a Beethoven symphony or the greatest of Shakespeare plays or a great Bob Dylan song, to throw Bob in there. I mean, it's like, it's like, 2001: A Space Odyssey is just this perfect Shakespearean type of performance in as a director, right? So it's like, just for me, it's the beauty of his perfection, that we're seeing something that's so unique and so original, okay, that it inspires awe every time I watch his films. And I've seen all of his films several times, sometimes hundreds of times, and basically it's the beauty of his perfection. It's the best I can do.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. I'm wondering, did you happen to see that documentary about Leon Vitali called Filmworker that came out?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen it 3 times. Yeah, beautiful film. Yeah, brilliant film.
You really liked it?
Oh yeah, I really did. I loved seeing Leon, who is, I think, a important figure, okay, in film history, in the sense that his work, okay, and I think I said this several times when the reviews first came out, when I first saw the film, was that his important work in restoring these artifacts of great art, human art, okay, is just astounding. He's a hero to film culture. These films will be available to people in 1,000 years because of Mr. Vitali's work. Wow. So he's my hero as far as that goes.
That's beautifully said, man. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah.
No, I love it. Well, I have a random kind of question to follow up with that. I'm just, sure. We're wondering, like, I guess if you ever had the chance to ask Leon, like, one question, yes or no, do you think you know what it would be?
I mean, off the top of my head, I have to give it if I had a minute to think about it, what would I ask him? Don't
give me the answer, but think about it for a minute.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I try to, I probably end up sounding like a fanboy and really blowing it, but I could give it some thought for sure. Yeah.
Well, you know what? If you want, just hang on for a second. Just bear with me. Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Sounds good. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, is this Leon?
It is.
Hey, what's up, bud? It's Jason.
Oh my God.
Hi. What a surprise.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really well. Thank you very much.
Cool. We've got a friend. We got an old friend on the phone who would love to say hi to you, and if that's okay, his name's James Robert Sherman, and he's north of you up in San Francisco.
Right. Hi.
Oh my God.
How are you?
Hi, Mr. Vitali. Nice. It's an honor, sir. It's an honor.
Call
me
Leon. Call me Leon. Yeah.
Wow. So, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. And I did actually. I was a little bit worried because there's a whole bunch of sirens went past just now, and I thought, my God, they'll probably think they're coming to take me away or something.
I hear it now. Yeah. They finally got to you, right? They finally tracked you down and they found you.
Yes.
Wow. Well, you live in Los Angeles, is that right, sir? You live in Los Angeles? Is that right? Or
yes,
LA
I
area?
do.
LA area. Yeah. The
Yeah,
same thing with me. I live near a hospital. Every time my mom calls, it's like the sirens are going off, and they go, "Jim, are you okay?" It's like, "No, Mom, I'm cool. It's all right."
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Good stuff. Well, we got you guys hooked up together for a few minutes. So, if there's anything you want to ask Leon, feel free.
Mr. Vitali, seriously, and I know this is going to sound like a trite question for you, okay? But have you caught up on all of your sleep? Have you finally had an opportunity to catch up? Okay, I've seen the films, I've seen the articles, right? I've seen the reports and the stories and the people who tell stories of you and your efforts and your labors. Have you caught up on your sleep, sir? I'm serious. I'm serious.
No, well, I can honestly tell you that I was probably in a natural fit for that job because I've always had a problem sleeping from when I was a child.
Yeah.
My father died when I was very young, so it meant my mum had to go and work, and she used to work. She was a nurse in actual fact, so she used to work nights. And at night, and it was like a giant sort of abstract playground for me at that time. So I never got to bed generally, before midnight, even as a child,
Wow.
And yeah. So it was a kind of it's just a thing I've grown into, and to be honest with you, no, I have never caught up with my sleep.
Well, you know what that means? You're still working, you're still alive, you're still hanging in there. So it's like, yeah, that's all, that's all for the best. It's all for the good. You were perfect for that job. You were perfect for the job as a film worker. And I love that.
Yes, right.
I love that calling yourself that, because it's like, yeah, you're a film worker, and it was just, it was a great film, the great film that they did on you. And, but it was pretty amazing. But, and I just want to say, and I said this earlier before I got on the phone with you, it's just like, I just want to thank you, sir. A lot of the, all of the restoration work that you've done since Mr. Kubrick passed away. And it's, I just want to say thank you, because it's like you've made available these great works of art, okay, for future generations. 1,000 years from now, people will be admiring and respecting the work that you put in, not just Mr. Kubrick's great work, okay, but the work you put in restoring and making sure that these films are preserved for thousands of years. And I just want to thank you personally. I think, God bless you for doing that,
Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really nicely said. That's very nicely said, Jim.
Thank you. It's just like, because I just think that, it's like, we don't do this. What was I was reading the story? It was like, my God, how close were they to losing the original image of Dr. Strangelove? And it's just like, I've read the stories that are involved with that. And it was like, Dr. Strangelove was one of the great films of the 20th century. And it's like, how could that almost be lost? Okay. How can the original of that almost be lost? And so it's like film preservation, and everybody who's involved with that just does, some fantastic work. Mr. Scorsese, of course, who's spent a lifetime working on that. But, you're one of those folks right up there, okay, with preserving some of the greatest art of our time, so more power to you, more years to you doing that. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Apropos Dr. Strangelove and its relevance today, I went to a film festival and we screened it. And this was, about a year ago, I suppose. And when I introduced the film, I said, well, it'll be interesting for me to see how much relevance you feel there is with where we are today, especially here in America. And so we watched the film, and when the film was finished, and I went back on stage to do a Q&A, I've never heard such a silence in my life. It was absolutely like a bunch of zombies.
Oh my
there.
God! Yeah, talk about
really was
sign of the times. Yeah. Yeah, almost 60 years later, and it's still relevant. I mean, it's almost 60 years later, and it's still absolutely relevant to the current times. Not to be political, but yeah, it's a great statement. Yeah, and I've other people have told me the same thing. I've shown this to people who are like my friends who have kids and stuff like that, and they're in their late teens and early 20s, and they're like, wow. I'd heard about this film, but I never figured it was as relevant now as it was when it first came out. And I go, oh yeah. So that's,
if not more so.
Yeah.
If not more so. Yeah. Well, listen, Jim, it's been great to talk, to finally hear your voice. We've been friends in cyberspace for quite some time. I want to let you go, and if you guys want to say goodbye and so long, we'll hopefully do it again someday.
Mr.
Vitali, it's been an honor. Thank you, and thank you for all the work you've done.
No, well, thank you, and thank you. For your perception, it's lovely to hear. It really is.
I think Mr. Vitali, I think you may be the first person since my mom who said thank you for your perception. So I appreciate that, sir, and and you have a great day, and all of you. This has been great. This has been fantastic. Thank you, sir. Take care,
man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, bud.
All right. Okay. Can I hang up?
Yeah, sure, bud. Yeah.
All right. You guys take, and also to all of you folks who are, in the Kubrick Appreciation Society. Great job. My favorite group.
Thanks,
I love
James.
going there every day.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, you guys. Hang in there. Will do. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Okay. Next up, James F. Davies.
James F. Davies from Liverpool.
Oh.
Aye. Getting a lot of James around, aren't they? Hello.
Hello. Hey, is this James?
It's James, yeah.
Hey, James, it's Jason and the gang from Kubrick's Universe podcast.
All right, man, you all right?
How you doing, mate?
Very good. Calling all the way from Liverpool.
So, listen, we've only got a few minutes with each of our guests, but we definitely have a cool segment planned, and you've been a great member in the Stanley Kubrick Appreciation Society.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
So I want to get to our question, but also real quick, I want to introduce James Marinaccio, who you know as Nick Fugazi. He's on the call. Say hi, guys.
Oh, absolute legend. Love him.
Hey, James. Nice to meet you.
Oh, good man. How's it going?
And I'm sorry. Sorry to step on that. My bad. Mark Lentz is there too. Are you there, Mark, buddy?
Hey, James. Good to hear your voice.
Another legend. Good to hear from you.
So, all right. I want to ask you a question. In about 100 words or less, can you tell us what drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
Okay, right. So just stop me when I get to 100. But it started when I was about 20 years old. My brother got a Stanley Kubrick box set. I watched it, loved the movies, but didn't really get them. You know what I mean? I watched 2001. I thought it's a great movie, but I don't understand it. So I lost my dad when I was about 18, and I just started reading loads about Stanley, and I had so much in common with him. It was weird. I'm not a film genius, but just the little things about him, like loving animals and just being, kind of a sensitive guy, lover of art, like loves people, but kind of, that kind of thing. And he kind of reminds me of Nikola Tesla is another guy I looked into a lot. He kind of reminds me of him, this kind of quiet genius. But I'll just read book after book after book, and every book you'll find something different about him. And every time you watch a Kubrick film, it's like watching it for the first time. It's bizarre. I saw 2001 in the cinema lately, and honestly, it's like seeing it for the first time. It was bizarre. And it's like, again, that film is like a spiritual experience. So that's what drew me to him, just the brilliance, the natural gift that he had. He just hung around New York and just, hustle chess. I don't know if that's 100% true, but he's just a legend. There's no one like him. Just the king.
And I've met loads of Kubrick people. Sorry, just quickly say, I was at London Film Comic Con lately and I met Adam Baldwin, and he told me that, Kubrick taught him patience, just like patience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can go mad and everything can be going wrong around you, but just keep your head, and that's it. Patience and time.
Who did you meet?
It was Alec Baldwin, did you say? Yeah.
Sorry,
Adam.
Adam.
Oh, Adam, forgive me, yes.
Yeah, Adam. Yeah, Animal Mother and Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I could have easily misheard Alec, because Alec Baldwin is an unabashed Kubrick fan. In fact, he was the moderator.
He interviewed Leon.
He moderated the Q&A at the premiere of Filmworker at the Metrograph, which Mark Lentz and I were lucky enough to attend. Did you see Filmworker?
Oh, really?
What did you think of it?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was great. It was funny as well, because Alec's funny. He's a funny guy, so he got the crowd going, and it was just, I liked it, loved it.
Yeah. Well,
I think every night, by the way, I watch something new about Kubrick, just anything, and I always find little videos here and there, and it's just like fascinating stuff. He's the most interesting man that's ever lived to me. Him and Tesla.
Every night,
it's just one of a kind.
Really?
Every night, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's something that draws me to him in a spiritual almost way. Like, he connects with me on like a mad level. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's one of those things. And as I say, he's like a father figure.
I think, a lot of people feel that way. A lot of us have been lifelong fans and are always searching for some succinct and beautiful way to describe what drew us to him, and I think he did a great job. So, just a random thought off the top of my head. It's a question. It's a yes or no answer. So, you've seen Filmworker. Do you know what you might ask Leon Vitali if you ever had the chance to ask him one question?
I'd say, was it worth it? And I know what he'd say.
Well,
that's all that matters.
You sure you do?
Like, just was it all? Whatever you've given, you could have been great. Could have been a great actor. You could have gone off and done your own thing, but you decided to work for this man instead and dedicate your whole life. Was it worth it? And he'd go, of course it was, because of who he was. So
you sound pretty sure. You sound pretty sure of yourself, and you may be right. But if you want to hang on for just a second, can you hang on a sec?
Of course.
Okay, cool. Hang on. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Leon?
Oh, my God.
Hey, what's up? It's Jason from Kubrick's Universe.
Hi.
Wow. Hi, Leon. Absolute legend.
We got a friend on the phone. You want to say hi? James F. Davies. He's over there in Liverpool.
Hi, Leon.
Hi, James. How are you?
Oh, very good. This is quite mind blowing. I'll be honest. Like, you're oh my God. Speechless. Yeah, I love Filmworker, and I just like so glad of what you did, and your story was told, and it needed to be told. And it completely and utterly inspired me. Like, I watch that film and I feel just fired up every time I see it. It's fun.
Well, that's kind of you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah. And so what was it? Was it worth it in the end to dedicate yourself to Stanley?
The answer is yes. It really was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I feel very much about Stanley even now, even though I've worked for him for all those years, and even though I've seen his films, all of his films, hundreds of times, as you can imagine.
Yeah, me too.
It's I still have this wonderful feeling about the privilege of having a creative input with a man like that, and
do you have a favorite film?
Do I have a favorite film?
Yes.
I would say I've got probably. I think my favorite film is all of them. because I've worked with them all in such detail, and you know, it's incredible. I mean, it was 2001 that started me.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I was just left drama school, and I was 21, and I went to see it in Leicester Square, and all I could think of was, oh my God! I mean, this for me is, even though it's a mystery, it's kind of mysterious in its way. I kind of think this is how it is. I mean, it's about the evolution of mankind, and who knows where it'll go, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, we sit around sort of thinking, well, I'm me and I'm here in this world, and we kind of take for granted that we're always going to be the way we are now in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And to sort of send it right out there into the ethos, you know, is just, I think that's brilliant, because, you know, 100,000 years ago, I mean, they wouldn't have known that we'd be living in condos.
Of course, yeah, that's a good point. Leon, do you ever go to the London College of Art and go through the boxes again, just like out of nostalgia?
Oh, no. I've only been back to the UK twice in 20 years. Okay. But I mean, to be absolutely honest with you, I saw it all before.
Exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't have to see it; he lived it.
Exactly. That's good point. You probably don't want to see it again.
Well, I mean, things come my way anyway, so you know, it always, stuff always comes up, and you know, but I mean, he's obviously a fixture in my life. I mean, there's no avoiding it. You know,
I love the thing in Filmworker when it said that you slept on the floor so that you didn't get too comfortable, so that you could just have little naps and then get up.
I didn't love it.
It's just like in those moments, was it all worth it? And the answer is yes, and that's all I wanted to know. Like, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
In the hard times.
Right. Yeah, well, you don't appreciate it. You got to have hard times, and if you get through them, then that's wonderful. Yeah.
That's so great, James. I'm glad we were able to connect you guys for a few minutes. Is there anything you want to say before I let you go, my man?
Just simply that I love Stanley, and I feel like more and more people are going to love him in the future. His fan base is only going to get bigger and bigger forever.
Right. Yes. Well, I kind of feel that way myself.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to me. It's been incredible.
You're very welcome.
What a way to end the year.
Oh, that's nicely said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Our pleasure. James, so take care. We're going to let you go. We'll see you soon. Okay, buddy?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Anytime.
Cheers, mate.
Bye, James.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Steve.
Bye.
Bye, Leon.
Bye.
All right. That was very cool. I guess we've got Tigray Hill lined up next. This is moving along pretty nicely, I must say.
It certainly is. Tigray's in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Calling now.
Hello.
Tigray.
Yes.
What's up, man? No, this is
How are you?
It's Jason.
Oh, Jason, how are you?
Good, man.
How are you?
Motown Philly.
Yeah, that's what they say.
It's good.
What's going on?
It's good to hear your voice, man. Well,
you too.
Yeah, cool. I got Stephen on the line, Stephen Rigg, who founded SKAS and producer of our podcast. Say hi, Steve.
Hi, Tigray. How are you doing?
How are you? Good to hear from you.
I'm very good, thank you. Good to hear from you too.
And we also got Mark Lentz, who you know from SKAS. Say hi.
Hi, Tigray. I love Philly. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate being on here.
Cool, man. Also, we got James Marinaccio, you know, as the one and only Nick Fugazi.
Oh, yes. Okay. Hey, how are you? Nice to talk to you. This is like the all-star cast of SKS.
Well, now that you're joining us, it is.
This is a board meeting.
Boy, right. So what's going on?
Well, we're doing a little segment, and it's a short one, but a cool one, we hope. And I've got 2 questions I want to ask you, and the first one is pretty straightforward. My question is, can you tell us and the listeners in about 100 words or so, what was it that drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
What was it? Well, a couple of things. I was made aware of Stanley Kubrick I was at a bookstore. I must have been 15 or 16, and the famous Kubrick book with Michael Subet was there. And I knew of 2001. I'd never seen it. And back then, I don't know what the age range of you guys are, but video cassettes were the rage back then. And I had a copy of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I saw this book about Kubrick. And then I loved that picture, which one day I'm going to get like a blown up picture of him on the set of Barry Lyndon. That was on the cover there. And I saw that book, and I started leafing through it. To be honest with you, I was leafing through. I knew of 2001. I knew of The Shining, but I didn't know too much more about anything else about him. And then I leafed through another book, I wish I could. I have it somewhere. It was a book of famous directors, and you said 100 words. I guess I'm about to run out here. It was a list of famous directors. Anyway, long story short, I got to the Kubrick portion of it, and it talked about how he worked. Was very, he was secretive, but he worked very hard on his projects, and he tried to make them all the best. So this 16-year-old went to see what this guy was like. So I watched 2001. I liked it. I didn't fully understand it then, but I liked it. But what really blew me away is when I started to watch A Clockwork Orange, because I had no idea what that movie was about. And the first half an hour, I said, this has to be the worst film I've ever seen in my life. But I stuck through it, and it was the most rewarding film to me after when I finished it. All of a sudden there, I got Kubrick. I said, okay, I get this guy.
Right.
And then I started watching all his films.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
No, I think you said it brilliantly. And, you mentioned his, to paraphrase, it sounded like you mentioned his work methodology. And of course, he wouldn't have been able to do that without a pretty trusted core group of people. Did you get a chance to see that documentary about Leon Vitali last year called Filmworker?
Oh yeah, I went to the theater and saw it. I thought it was amazing. Absolutely.
You did?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes, and I bought the film too.
Oh, you did?
So yeah. I'm nowhere near some of the collectors in the group that you have, but I try to collect a lot of stuff about him. I remember one of the things that really intrigued me when I read him in that Best Director's book. They said every time a film came out about that he put out, it was like an event.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 16 years old, and so I'm like, I'm in the film, but mostly I'm really starting to get into Hitchcock at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading about this cool filmmaker that is supposedly amazing, and he was and is and continues to be. And then I became obsessed with him after I was 16. So I remember the day when Full Metal Jacket came out. I went with my a much older friend of mine. He was a psychiatrist. He went to see Full Metal Jacket, and we both went. And I was 19 years old. And right after that, I moved to New York. I saw it in June, and I moved to New York in the fall. I went back to see it again. I saw it about 5 times in the theater. So
that was the first Kubrick. That was the first Kubrick picture I got to see in the theater as well.
Yeah, me too. That was I think that's it depends on your age range. And then I did go to see MoMA, or somebody had a retrospective around then. I did see The Killing in the theater, which blew me away.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it just became my lifelong. Since 16, I've had an obsession with him.
you know, you're preaching to the choir, bro. And since you mentioned that you did have the chance to see Filmworker in the theater, and then you bought it. Like I'm the same. I'm not an absolute completist about all things that I'm interested in or passionate about. I do tend to be a bit of a Kubrick completist. I'm also kind of the same for the Beatles, you could say. But my point is, you
just picked the two things I'm completist about.
right on, bro. I mean,
yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, but this brings me to the question, the second question, which is, without giving me the answer, kind of yes or no. If you had the chance to ask Leon a question, do you have an idea what it might be?
Well,
without giving me the answer, would you be able to think of a question for him?
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You know what? Hang on a second, bro. Hang on. Can you just hang on for 1 sec?
Yeah.
Cool. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Leon.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Jason and the gang from Kubrick's Universe.
Hi. I had a really weird ringtone on my phone. I don't know who it is. But anyway, wow. I'm glad I picked it up.
You mean that completely fake ringtone I did with my...
Wow.
Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Good. This is an honor to speak to you. I think we're all speaking to you, Lion. It's an honor to speak to you. I saw the film and I was blown away by it. I bought it, and they said, "Do you have a question?" I don't know if I have a question so much as I want to thank you for your dedication. You were quite a talented man. Well, what you are, and what you did with your career was just amazing. I found it to be, you're an unsung hero.
Thank you.
I'm a little baffled that I'm speaking to you.
Oh, thank you. It's really kind of you to say. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
I live in Los Angeles now, so it's all good, as they say here in Los Angeles.
So you were always a rock star, but you became more of a rock star after the film came out. So,
oh, thank you.
I'm sure you're recognized quite a bit now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yes.
Well,
I had a guy when I went to Cannes with the 4K version of The Shining, which I did. I met the guy walked up to me. Yeah, thank you. A guy walked up to me and he said, "Are you Leon Vitali?" And I said, "Yes." And he just looked at me, went, and just walked off.
well, you confirmed it for him, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Here's a question: do you have any plans to act anymore?
Good question.
It's a good question, actually. I'm asked, and sometimes, it's really strange, because when I decided to take the road I took, I can honestly say, in all the years that I was working for Stanley, I missed acting like twice, and one of them was actually watching. We were working on the scene in The Shining, and I just thought, oh my God, I'd love to be on the end of this, now. And the other time was when I watched a group of old friends from my drama school. They'd formed into a theatre company, and they were doing some really ambitious work. And I actually kind of thought, it would have been nice to be there. But apart from that, no, I never missed it in that way. But I am asked occasionally. So, and I did some, actually. I had sometimes when I'm working with, on a film as a dialogue coach or helping a director or something, he asked me if I'll do a scene, and if I think it'll be fun to do, then I do it.
Well, I mean, your performance as Lord Boynton was like, Academy Award worthy. I mean, and then you went on to be with Stanley Kubrick. I mean, it's just amazing. Let me stop. I feel like I'm monopolizing your time. This is a unexpected pleasure, a Christmas gift.
No, it's cool. You're great, Tigray. I'm gonna.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go aid. If you have another question, and go ahead, man.
Well, let me just ask this, Lynn. You've been. What's next for anything you're restoring or overseeing as far as any films of his, like you did with The Shining?
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, the hope is that we can get 4Ks for all of them, really. I mean, the next one is supposed to be Full Metal Jacket, coincidentally enough, and we're hoping to be able to do that in the spring. Yeah, it's I think it would be irresponsible if they didn't let us do it. Put it that way, and it seems of all the formats, that have come up through the years, Blu-ray and what have you, and I go back in and redo them, and of course, I mean, the technical possibilities of getting really great resolution and picture quality is just amazing now. I mean, 4K, I think, is a huge leap forward, and it's fantastic to work with.
Well, I took my little pennies that I have and completely upgraded to 4K because of 2001. I said, okay, that's when and it's a brilliant print, and then I have The Shining. It looks amazing, and Full Metal Jacket will look amazing. But with you looking over it all, I have full confidence that it'll just be amazing. I would wonder this is if that happens, and it will. That would be a nice way for SKS. Maybe we can get a sneak peek at your process.
Right.
Of the mastering. It's an interesting way of seeing the process. But in fact, I'm due for another viewing of Full Metal Jacket soon. So I watch everything of his at least once a year.
Well, it sounds like Leon's getting to work on the 4K for FMJ in spring.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
maybe I should delay a little longer.
Well, we don't have long to wait. At least that's the good news. Well, Tigray, you've been great, dude. I'm unfortunately I'm charged with keeping the ball rolling, and I guess if you guys want to say ciao for now, say goodbye, and hopefully we'll get a chance to all do it again sometime.
Well, I can't thank you all enough for this I was just pleased to talk to you guys, and having Leon on was very much a nice surprise. And Leon, thank you again for your work.
Thank you, and I really do appreciate it. I really do, and thank you for your, for your devotion. Put it that way too. I always see it as a cause, and pretty much a really important one. So thank you so much for your appreciation.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, you too.
That's great. Oh.
Thank you. Guys, can I brag about this, or is this something that's a secret, so it's revealed?
Good question. Stephen?
Yeah, we'll be putting this out in the new year, so yeah, brag away. As long as you don't brag away too much online.
Yeah, keep
just in the pub.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll keep it. I was going to say, I just can't believe I just talked to Leon Vitali, but I'll wait. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure's all ours.
Thanks, Tigray.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Tigray.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff. Okay, Stephen, I saw your message about Wes Calamer.
Yep, giving him a call now.
Is he in LA? Do we know?
Yes, he's in LA.
Hey, is this Wes?
This is Wes.
Hey, man, it's Jason and the gang from Kubrick's Universe. How's it going?
Oh, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. Just on the road at the moment.
That's okay. Can you talk with us, or?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So Stephen Rigg, who of course founded Stanley Kubrick Appreciation Society and produces the Kubrick's Universe podcast, he's on the line. Say hi.
Hi, Wes.
Hey, how's it going, man? How you doing?
Not bad at all, thank you. Thanks for joining us on the call.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the message. I'm honored.
Cool. I've also got with us Mark Lentz and James Marinaccio from SKAS. Say hi, guys.
There.
Hey, Wes.
Nice to meet you, Wes.
What's up, fellas? Man, this is great. It's nice to put a voice to the Facebook message.
Well, we've all been pretty fascinated with you taking the mini Kubrick figure around, and as I understand it, you're working on a coffee table book or something about the traveling gnome of Kubrick. Is this true?
Yeah. Something to the effect of it's been stalled like 800 times, but yeah, it's not dead. It's still a thing. I'm very much still in love with the idea, and I have a lot of photos that I can't wait to share with the group that you guys just haven't even kind of seen yet.
It's such a cool idea. It really is. That's a brilliant idea.
We both just ordered me and Jason are awaiting our gnome.
Yes, waiting on a gnome.
Oh yeah, is it the mini Kubrick?
Yeah.
That's right. I was the one who called it the gnome.
Yeah, no, they're still really great and like highly detailed for how small the figure is, and it come in like thematic colors, like they have like a clockwork orange colored Kubrick figure. They have a bunch of different types. So I'm glad you guys got it. It's probably my favorite. I have so many useless collectibles and a lot of sentimental collectibles, but the Kubrick is hands down my most valued and sentimental collectible.
Yeah, that's understandable. So listen, man, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's a pretty straightforward one. In about 100 words or so, can you tell us and tell the listeners, what is it that drew you personally to Stanley Kubrick?
Oh man, what a great question. Important question. When I grew up, my mom was always working. My dad wasn't around, so I was really attracted to superheroes and comic books and reading, and like Hercules, Legendary Journeys, and Buffy and Angel, and TV was my thing. And then one day, The Shining came on the television, and it was just unlike anything I've ever seen on a screen, and it just captivated me, and I became obsessed with the movie, and then of course the brilliant filmmaker behind it, and then it just snowballed from there. It was a different language. It was just unlike anything.
I like that, a different language.
It really was. It was just visually something that I don't think anybody before or since has even remotely captured, which is just, it boggles the mind of the type of visual stimulation that Kubrick was able to create with the world, and no one even, not even kind of on that level. It's nuts to me. So that's always fascinating.
Well, film language is a thing. I think that's, obvious at this point. And the very nature of making film has, I would argue, its own language as well. And what I'm getting at is, did you get a chance to see that documentary about Leon Vitali called Filmworker?
No, it's on the queue. I finished Stanley and Me, which is amazing, the book and the documentary, but that was next.
You got to see it, man. It's fantastic. But you are, of course, familiar with Leon and how, invaluable he was as Stanley's right-hand man for all those years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You should definitely see the documentary. I mean, we can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Like I said, it's on the queue, and I just got out of my second semester of school, so I have a break, which is unheard of. So I'm going to be doing lots of reading, lots of watching. So
Yeah. Have you ever like just caught an interview with him or anything? I mean, you know basically who he is.
Yeah, I have on YouTube and on the deep 2 a.m. dives of YouTube suggested videos. He's definitely popped up a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to the deep dive 2 a.m. thing.
Just one more video.
One more. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Two more videos. I'm totally going back. It's never gonna happen.
I'm not even down the rabbit hole, and my alarm is about to go off, and I'm supposed to go to work.
That's
yeah,
right. Go to work in 15 minutes. Maybe I can hit one more damn video.
Right. Well, okay. So on that topic, I mean, this is my second question, and without giving me the answer, just kind of yes or no, knowing that Leon was so crucial in Stanley being able to accomplish all that he did. If you, without giving me the answer, if you had the chance to ask Leon a question, do you have any idea, like, what it might be? Yes or no?
Oh, God. What question I would ask?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Take a moment to think about it if you like.
Yes. Yes, I do.
You would? You think you would?
I think I would.
You know, that's pretty cool of you. Actually, can you hang on for just a moment, though?
Sure.
Hang on, just one technical thing I got to sort out on my end here. Hold up. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Leon?
Yeah?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Jason and the gang at Kubrick's Universe.
Hi.
How's it
How
going?
are you? Good.
We got a friend and a lifelong Stanley fan on the line named Wes Calamer. He'd love to say hi to you if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Hi, Leon. This is an honor. I'm a bit shell-shocked. I wasn't expecting anything like this, so I apologize. Like a giant fan. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, and you know, I'm happy that to talk to anybody who's had so much joy out of watching Stanley's films. I really am.
Absolutely. The wonderful guys at SKAS, they just posed a question to me of what question I would ask you, and something just kind of bolted through my brain. You know, I wish I could be alive in the day, or I was alive, but I wish Stanley was alive right now, where I could ask him 1,001 questions. But being that you lived and knew him so well as you did, the years that you did, my question is, for all my rambling, what's one statement that kind of stuck with you and changed your perspective on yourself or people or the world that Stanley shared with you that just has always stuck with you since? I would love to have a statement like that myself. I ask you. I pose that to you.
Right. Well, it was that I'd always, as an actor, you know, and I'd seen 2001 when I was at drama school, and I just thought, oh boy, I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. It was such an emotional experience, you know, to watch it. And then I watched Clockwork Orange, and I just thought I'd give anything in the world just to work for this man as an actor, because I was an actor, you know. And suddenly I heard about Barry Lyndon being made, and I got my agent to call in, and I got the role, and so that's that. And then I got called down to where they were shooting in Salisbury in England, and my contract was like 13 days over 8 weeks, and I had one dialogue scene and a couple of pass by just to establish who I was, you know, and And I didn't shoot anything for the first sort of like 6 weeks. He just used to call me down to the set, and I had to wear full costume and makeup. And then when they wrapped, he'd call me on the set and he'd say, "Hi, Leon. Hi. Do you know that speech?" And I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, say it." So I'd say it. And he said, "Thank you, Leon. Good night." And we shook hands, and I went back to the hotel, And this went on for, for weeks. And anyway, we started shooting, and I just noticed that while I was sitting around waiting, I suddenly understood, wow, what it takes to make a movie for a start, and to see the perfection with which he was aiming at getting, and it just became a fascinating experience for me. And I spoke to him about it, and he said, "Well, if you're thinking of doing something in production or what have you, do something, and then when you've done it, let me know." And so I did. I parlayed my way. I did a film, a Frankenstein film, in actual fact. And I parlayed my way into the cutting room, and I told him, and he said, "Okay." And then it went from there, and that was it. And there was a sort of a wonderful kind of feeling of being part of a creative, process, which, even as an actor, I would never have had, never have got anywhere near it. So that's really how it started.
And you met Stanley in the 70s, right?
Yeah. We were Barry Lyndon. We shot it in 1973, 74, 75. I mean, all those years. And and so I knew him from then. And he was, it's funny. It was so strange. We actually have the same birth date, only 20 years apart. So if you want to sort of think about, serendipitous, I mean, it was there, but we had a way of talking with each other. It was strange. It was like a shorthand, and we, not to say that he didn't have his tantrums every now and then. I mean, you can imagine, but everything was understood. Everything was kind of understood, and it was just magic. I mean, it really was. It really was. And I miss him to this day.
We all do. I could definitely speak for everyone in agreeing with that statement. Absolutely. Very much.
Yeah.
So. Thank
Yeah,
you, Leon. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I appreciate you too. I appreciate your interest, and it's lovely to hear every time.
Well, this has been great.
I do have a quick follow-up question, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Now, Leon, I'm sure, you're on a podcast and you're speaking to a bunch of super fans, and Kubrick has kind of been made into an icon, like a legend. Do you think that that in itself is a good thing, or do you think people should really try to look at the man behind the myth, or is it kind of a combination? Like, it's good that he's reached that status, and that's okay, and there's messages to partake from. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely, and it's a really good question. The thing is that despite his sort of mythological sort of the reputation and
sure,
the achievements, I can tell you that Stanley was one of the most human people I've ever met in my life, and everything was on a purely kind of emotional level. And I don't mean that in of course there were histrionics and there were laughs and there were this and there was that, but he was somebody said earlier that what they loved about Stanley was that he didn't know, and it's true in lots of ways. I mean, his films were exploratory for himself, the subject matters, and it was just remarkable how much script could change from when we had it in our hand to when we finished shooting. I mean, it was light and editing, and you'd have thought, well, that was a worthless piece of paper, that script that you had, because it changed so much. And he was so open to that. You know, he wasn't afraid to throw out ideas that he cherished in a project because he knew it was leading us nowhere. And he was just really as a filmmaker, an artist. He was very, very brave. He really was. He made very brave decisions. So, and that's why I think each of his films is unique, to him, and unique, to each other, because everything was a process.
Well, it's as beautifully said as any and everything we've heard Leon say, and we're so grateful for it. We do have to unfortunately sign off, but
for sure, it was an honor talking to all of you guys.
Great, it's been really, really nice to hear your thoughts about it all.
Thank you very much.
Wes, I'm gonna let you go, but hopefully, we'll see you in cyberspace, as James says.
Absolutely, I'll see you on the board.
Thanks, Wes.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Leon, somebody on our Facebook group just said you have a resemblance to Mick Jagger.
Hey, that's a compliment.
Say that again. I didn't hear it.
Somebody was saying you look like Mick Jagger, Leon.
Oh, right. I used to get that all the time when I was at drama school.
Let's go for Alexander Pietrzak.
Do that. Yep.
Where's Alexander in America? Whereabouts?
Scottsdale, Arizona. Yeah.
Scottsdale.
Curious. I've never heard his voice. He was born and raised in the UK, so I'd like to hear how much it's changed, how much of it he has left.
He's got a lot of production credits to his name. He worked on Tombstone.
Well, he was the first. He back in the. I don't know, in the 90s, he got Seafarers put on. I think it was VHS or maybe DVD, but it had been available. He worked to get that available.
He acquired the rights to the Seafarers. That's true, and he's a great guy.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see if we can.
That's a fellow we were just about to ring now.
Let's do it.
I'll give it a try.
He did text me that he had a busy day at work and he would do his best to answer the call.
Hello.
Hey, Alexander.
Yeah. Hey.
What's up, man? It's Jason from Kubrick's Universe.
Good.
Real quick, in 100 words or less, here's our first question. Can you tell us what it was that drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
Okay, and this is a question for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that I went to see Full Metal Jacket, and I think right after that, I picked up one of those video guides that had, you look at the back and it has all the directors in there. I was like, I have to find out more about this Kubrick guy. And I was like, I saw all his names, and I was like, all those films that he did. And I was like, what? The same guy did all this? And I was kind of like blown away. I was like, Spartacus? Is that right? And he didn't even did Spartacus. How old is this guy? I was like, it just kind of blew me away that someone could direct all these films, all these different genres, these different looking movies. It was kind of like, wow. And after that, I was like, I got to really dig in and see all the rest of this guy's stuff,
Yeah. Well, real quick, tell us again how you came to acquire the rights to the Seafarers.
Well, on the original AMK, we would always talk about it. It was like one of those things, like, well, you think we'll ever see it? And I think a lot of people were like, no, probably not. And I kind of imagined it just on a shelf somewhere. And, people didn't even know who owned it or whatever. It wasn't even tagged properly or something. I was like, it's got to be out there. Somebody's got to have a copy of it,
Right.
And contacted the SIU, and I got bounced around. There's a long story about it, but I kind of got bounced around, and I ended up speaking to someone over there, and they said, "Oh, we have an AV department." And I was like, "An AV department?" I was like, "Well, that sounds kind of promising." So they put me on to this guy,
Harry Geiske. And immediately he knew what the film was. I was like, whoa. And he goes, and I was like, he said, yeah, I have a copy of it here on video. We transferred onto VHS. I was like, is there any way I could get a copy of that? So like, he sent it to me, and I'm like, I'm just sitting there in my living room watching this movie. I'm just like on VHS, and I was like, I can't believe I'm like the first person in the whole group to see it. You know?
Wow. Yeah.
And this is around 99, I think it was.
Okay. That's really cool in itself. Well, I mean, speaking of, that's a dovetail for my second question, because, speaking of getting the job done, did you see Filmworker, the documentary about Leon Vitali?
I haven't seen it yet. I know it's crazy.
You have to see it. I mean, it's really, really. Of course, you know who Leon is and how
sure.
invaluable he was to Stanley.
Yeah, I sent some posters over to Tony Freeland when I was getting, because they didn't have a print of the Seafarers, so I sent him my print. And I said, I'm going to send you some posters. You can kind of get maybe like Leon and Jan Holland to sign them. So I sent some posters to them, and they, when I got all my stuff back, I had a couple of those signed, and Christine Kubrick sent me a signed print as well or something.
Oh, that's cool. Leon did autograph it for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, okay, so you definitely got to see the documentary, and obviously you clearly know who he is. Without giving us the answer, just give me a yes or no. If you had the chance to ask Leon a question, do you have some idea what it might be?
I do.
Okay. Well, you know what? Hang on 1 second, okay? Just hold tight. I know we can't keep you for long, but hang on 1 second, bro. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Leon.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Jason and the gang at Kubrick's Universe.
Hi. How are you guys?
We're great. We got a dear friend on the phone, Alexander Pietrzak. You guys want to say hi to each other?
Absolutely. Hi. How are you?
Great.
You sound like someone's just walked up to you with a book and said, Alexander, this is your life.
A little bit, yeah. Are you guys pulling my leg on this?
No, we are not.
No. It's me.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you think you can ignore that other phone if it rings for a few minutes?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Tell her you were in the bathroom.
Yeah. So okay. So should I just go ahead and ask the question then?
Yeah, dude. Feel free. This is a perfect opportunity to ask him a question.
Yeah. I don't know how far. I don't know if you can really remember this, but back when I was dealing with the Seafarers, getting that onto first VHS tape and then to DVD, I was offered the rushes for that film. But when it came right down to it, the people who ran the AB department at the Seafarers International Union, they couldn't come up with it. They was like, "We don't have it. Oh my God, what's going on?" And the guy was telling me all about all this footage. And then when I heard about all the outtakes and everything had been from Kubrick's original films, had been incinerated, I kind of thought, well, maybe Leon had some sort of contact over there where they would send those to him and he would destroy them or something, because no one seemed to know what the hell happened to all those outtakes. So I was just wondering, do you know anything about that?
I don't, but it doesn't surprise me to hear that, because you'd be probably surprised to hear that Columbia, as it was in the day, lost the whole original negative of Dr. Strangelove. And these things happened, as we say, in the old days. I mean, archiving wasn't, a very well organized, operation. And, now it is, because I think film studios and companies have realized that, they're heritage things, they're absolutely. And, And so it was one of those things, that, and Fear and Desire, for instance, we tried to get the negative back. And I spent probably 10 years looking for the original negative Dr. Strangelove and for all of his documentaries. And it was surprising to, Fear and Desire was like no trace of it. And nobody knew where it was or anything. And but then, after Stanley died, suddenly these pristine prints started turning up. So we realized that somebody did have it, and they weren't owning up to it. I won't say who it was eventually, but I mean, it's kind of shocking how much was not preserved or looked after or archived in any way back in those days. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
That is crazy.
That's
really interesting. I don't know whether these guys have told you, but I'm originally from England, and
right.
I'm from
Where
Reading.
about?
Yeah.
Reading.
I'm from Reading. Yeah. And
right.
But my dad, when I was over there during the 80s, he used to live in near St. Albans in Flamstead. So I was in St. Albans, quite a bit. Anyway, going back to when I lived in England, going to school in Reading, we went on a field trip once, and I won't give you the whole story. It'll take too long. Long story short, we think that when we were in Blenheim Palace, and we went to a tour around Blenheim Palace, that we may have walked through the filming of Barry Lyndon, and so I didn't really make this connection. I didn't make the connection for many years until I read about it in a book. I think it was Labuto's book. And I was like, oh, my God, that sounds... Because the first time I saw Barry Lyndon, I was like, oh, yeah, I've been there. Oh, I stood right there. I kind of was familiar with it, I was like, oh, okay. So when I read that story and about the whole way he set it up, I was like, that is exactly what happened. I was like, that's what happened when I was on that school trip. And we walked through, and it looked like maybe like an assistant director or someone kind of sitting in these chairs, and they looked really kind of annoyed to see us, because when you're a little kid, you think that everyone's going to be so happy to see you when you go enter a room, and they look kind of annoyed because our school group was crossing this film set. And I was like, and then years later, I did some research with Blenheim. And I was like, to figure out what films are being shot over there. And that was the one that was like, the time frame was perfect, and there was nothing was shot after that because of the restoration that was going on there. It wasn't until History of the World Part 2. So it was the only logical film that could have been shot there. So I was like, it's possible I could have been on that set. It's kind of strange.
You could, you probably were. And I know, I mean, one of the wonderful things about working on Barry Lyndon was I got to see the inside of, so many of these places, Blenheim and Corsham Court and all these fine houses. And one of them where we did most of our filming for the interiors, Ryan and I, we were taking a break from shooting, and we decided to have a little wander around, and we went into this room, and we just looking around, just portraits and pictures and God knows what. And suddenly the door opened, and the tour guide walked in with a bunch of people. And he, when he saw us, it was like he was frozen in time. We were in full costume and makeup. So we just bowed and said, "Oh, please, James, go ahead." And then we just left. It was such a wonderful little thing to happen,
It's so funny. People have memories of that, maybe, and never make the connection that they actually saw something even more significant,
Right, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'd forgotten all about that. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that until I kind of read about it, and then I was like, oh, it kind of jogged my memory,
You guys were probably in close proximity to each other on the set of Barry Lyndon all those years ago, and wouldn't have known it.
Oh, absolutely.
And now
exactly.
And now you got to talk for a bit.
Yeah.
That's making me smile.
Yeah.
That's making us happy.
Well,
Right,
I get to ask 2 questions. I get to ask you 2 questions. It's great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Absolutely. And thank you for your appreciation of Stanley.
Yes.
And his work. Mm-hmm.
Alexander, great stuff. Great stuff. Listen, we'll talk again real soon. And
okay.
I'm going to let you get back to work.
Okay. All right. See you, Leon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Alexander. Bye.
Thanks, buddy. Great stuff. All right, who do you got next, Stephen? We're down to the last few.
We'll get David Constantine next. Is David in New York?
He's in New Hampshire, which is north of us, northeast of us.
Hello?
Hey, David.
Hi, yes.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Jason.
Hey, Jason. How's it going?
Good. All right, well, let me jump into it, man. I'm so glad you could be part of this segment. It's a simple couple questions I want to ask.
Sure.
The first one is, in 100 words or so, can you tell the listeners, what is it that drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
So what drew me to Stanley is, I guess I remember probably the first film I saw of his was I saw like bits and pieces as like a little kid of like 2001 Space Odyssey. And I just remember being entranced by it, just as even a little kid, just being captivated. So I was always curious about his films, and I had always, I had seen bits and pieces of other films like A Clockwork Orange on TV, and there was just something alluring about him, so mysterious. And I had done more investigating, and I had heard about Peter Sellers growing up, and I heard other people that had worked with him, like James Earl Jones, had got his beginnings with Stanley. And what just got me was how his transformation of the screen into the viewer. It puts you on a journey. It puts you on like a tunnel, like a wormhole. You go into a different world watching his films, and then it's one of those films. When you watch one of his films, you basically you think about it. You continue thinking about it.
Mm.
You're like, wow. I feel like my life has changed just by watching one of his films.
Mm.
It overall of his movies, I mean, there's not one bad apple. Everything has a meaning and a purpose.
Yes. I mean, that's the response some of us give if asked, what's your favorite Kubrick film? It's all of them. And I've even heard that Leon Vitali has answered in kind. When asked, what's your favorite, he said, all of them. Did you see Filmworker?
Definitely. Oh, most definitely. I've seen it twice. What
did you think?
It's incredible. It's I thought it was expertly well made, and it was just it's actually a really good introduction if people aren't really familiar with Stanley's films to watch Filmworker.
Hmm.
I was showed to my father recently, and he actually really appreciated it.
Oh, that's so cool. Well,
yeah.
Without giving me the answer, just by way of a yes or no answer, my second question is, and take a moment to think about it, if you like. If you ever had the chance to ask Leon a question, do you think you might have an idea what the question would be? Yes or no?
Yes. Let's see.
Don't give me the answer. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. I could definitely have something to ask him.
Cool. Actually, can you hang on just a moment, David?
Sure.
Thanks, man. Hang on one sec. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Leon?
Yeah?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Jason from Kubrick's Universe.
Hi, how are you?
We're good, man. Got a good friend on the phone named David Constantine. He wants to say hi. Is that cool?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Hey, Leon, how are you doing?
I'm good. And how are you doing?
Oh, excellent. I actually, I met you previously. You probably don't remember. It was, we were in Santa Monica at your Filmworker screening for that and Full Metal Jacket. I had the Red Archives book and the photos of the on-set photos.
I do remember.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
nice to talk to you again.
All right. Yes.
So there we have it. Our first caller, who's Stephen, who's who's already had the honor to talk with Leon.
Yes.
How cool.
Awesome.
Well, you got a chance to ask him a question, man. You want to go ahead?
Okay. I would love to. So, Leon, I know you probably get asked this question many, many times, but in another instance, if you had a chance to hang out with Stanley, let's just say just once upon a time randomly, what would you do with Stanley? Like what would you even say to him? Like if you could hang out with him once more, like what would you do with him?
Oh, right. First of all, I'd ask him how his cats are, and then I'd ask him how his dogs are. Then I'd ask him. Then I'd ask him if he'd seen any good movies lately, and we'd probably get into that. Yeah, and probably talk about politics, and we probably talk about sport, and it was just we could talk about anything whenever we were checking a print from a laboratory, like let's say Clockwork Orange, and we'd go reel by reel. We'd look at a reel, then he'd say, "Let's sit down." And got a cigarette? Yeah, got a cigarette, and we'd have a smoke, and we'd start talking about Margaret Thatcher or and random things like that. Then go back to reel 2, and then we do the same thing after that, and so on over like 16 reels. And so, of course, it took about 5 hours to actually look at one print, and because it was just whatever was in the air we talked about, and that was one of the lovely things about working with Stanley. It was just all encompassing. Nowhere was sacred. You could talk about anything and everything, and that's how it always was, and that's how it would be if I had the chance again. That's how it would work. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Did Stanley ever get spiritual? Did you guys ever have spiritual conversations?
Yes, but he was. I would say Stanley was a humanist, in his beliefs, and as I've always been, nearly all my life, and so we always sort of thought about spirituality as something that, it's intangible, but it's always there, and it's always there in a way that you can reference it, but you can't always explain it, and it's one of those mysterious things in life which are so fulfilling and so wonderful to have, but it has no religious attachment in that way. Religion for me and for Stanley, we really agreed on this, was really not where spirituality is and where it really is, because spirituality has no borders, it has no walls, it has no limits, and so he was very much into spirituality as spirituality, but not connected in any way to organized religion.
Oh, right. Well, I couldn't agree more with that.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you guys got the chance to catch up again. Sounds like there's a good chance you'll cross paths once again in the future.
I would hope so.
I'm
Thank
sure.
you.
Hope so. Bring your big red book again.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, I do remember it.
Listen, I am tasked with keeping the ball rolling, David, but you and I are going to talk soon, and we're going to see each other real soon. David and I are going to the premiere of the 2001 exhibit at Museum of the Moving Image. He was so kind to extend an invite, and gosh, I almost feel like mailing it to you instead, Leon.
Oh, well, have a super time.
Yeah, I'll report back to you.
Thank
you. We'll be sure to report back to you. But yeah, I mean, go ahead and sign off and wish each other a Happy New Year, whatever you'd like to do.
Well, Happy New Year. Yeah, you too.
Thanks for having me on.
No, I mean, and it's been a real pleasure, believe me.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Hey, good
Thanks,
talking
David.
to you guys.
And you.
Thanks, David.
Amazing.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Speak again soon.
We'll see you.
Definitely. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right.
Are we to try Giuseppe in Italy one more time, and then we've got one final call to Dominique El Perot in Pittsburgh. I'll give Giuseppe another try.
A female. Wow.
No, it's unfortunate.
I did say it like it was a female, didn't I? I said Dominique. It's not Dominique at all. It's Dominic.
Yes. Yeah. The singing nun herself.
The singing nun. She wants to ask Leon a question.
Are you a practicing Catholic any longer? No.
That's great. Oh my gosh.
Hello?
Hello? Is this Dominic?
That's me, yeah.
How's it going, man? It's Jason and the gang from Kubrick's Universe podcast.
Oh, okay, how are you?
Doing great, thanks. Hope we didn't catch you at a bad time.
Let me check. No, it's good.
Okay, cool. So, we're doing this cool segment, very simple, 2-question segment we have for you. And the first question, pretty simple, but can you tell us and the listeners, what is it that drew you to Stanley Kubrick?
Good question. I suppose it was Dr. Strangelove in high school. My professor showed me Dr. Strangelove, loved the movie, and yeah, ever since then I've been hooked.
Kind of kept it going from there.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I just, then Dr. Strangelove, and then 2001, then, Barry Lyndon, and just kept going. I became an addict, yeah.
So have you ever, as a enthusiast, you must have watched some of the better documentaries that are out there. And there are a plenty, but did you get the chance to see Filmworker when it premiered?
Yes.
You have seen it?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Cool. Well, my second question for you is, without giving me and us the answer, just kind of yes or no, we all obviously think Leon is a really fascinating guy, and there's so much that's discussed about him in the documentary, but then there's always the chance that there's always more questions, like a Kubrick film itself. There's always another question. So, without giving me the answer, if you had the chance to ask Leon a question, do you think you might have an idea what it would be?
Oh, wow. Let's see.
Don't give me the answer. Just, you could take a moment. Yes or no?
Yeah, I know what it would be, but do you want me to say or no?
No, actually,
I mean, I'd probably put it together like a list of things.
Right. Well, you know what? Actually, can you hang on for just a second? I'm just having a technical thing going on my end. Can you hang on one moment, Dominic?
Okay.
Thanks. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, is this Leon?
It is.
Hey, man, what's going on? It's Jason and the gang at Kubrick's Universe.
Hi. What a long time since we spoke.
I know.
Yeah.
It's always a lifetime between our chats. Listen,
yes.
we've got a nice fella on the phone, friend of Stanley Kubrick Appreciation Society, and an ardent admirer of Stanley Kubrick and yourself. His name is Dominic. Would you guys care to say hi to each other?
Hi, Dominic.
Well, hello, Leon. How are you today?
I'm
good. Holidays?
Thank you. How are you? Yes,
I'm great.
Yeah. Not bad. Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Great.
Well, here's your chance, Dominic. Feel free to ask him a question.
Okay. Let's see. Wow. Okay. So, yeah. So I was looking, you did a lot of work for the Venice Film Festival, getting the films prepared.
Oh, yes.
And because I was in the Kubrick archive, actually, and I was looking through that stack of material, trying to find the right format and everything. Like, how long did that take you to do?
Well, it was a strange thing, actually, because they just announced publicly that they were going to do, a series of Stanley's films at the Venice Film Festival. The thing was, they forgot to tell Stanley. And so we heard about it sort of over the news waves. And the thing was, we were in the middle of filming Eyes Wide Shut at the time. So it was, I can't tell you, it was one of those things where I didn't know if I was coming or going, because I had to, most of the films I had to have redone, from scratch, because none of them had kept their original subtitles or timing cards for the, color and timing and what have you. So it was just a huge operation right in the middle of another huge operation. And it was quite amazing, I have to say, quite exhausting, but worth it in the end.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Did Kubrick have to review everything you did then? Because it seemed like, wow, you must have been going back and forth between him and getting the prints done. And
oh yeah. I mean, I was in contact with the labs and the territory and Italy, the office there in Italy, constantly, and. So I would, every time I got a new print made, I'd take it and show it to Stanley, and if there were any changes, we'd make them. But thankfully, that we were light on changes, so they were good prints. So then we had to send it out to the territory, and they had to subtitle it. So we had to check the subtitle lists that they sent to make sure they were correct translations. I mean, you can imagine. I mean, it was kind of endless, and I got the last print out on the Saturday afternoon or the Saturday evening. They were going to screen Eyes Wide Shut, and it was I don't know, something memorable. That's how I'll put it. I'll never forget it, of course. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you for all your work and all the years you put in with Kubrick. It's really appreciated by me, and I'm sure millions of fans around the world, and it's really appreciated. Thank you for your documentary and everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for being, someone who appreciates Stanley's films in such a deep way, a meaningful, spiritual way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Is it okay if we let you go, Dominic?
Yeah, that's fine. And thank you again for sharing Leon with me, and that's a great gift. Thank you.
It was our pleasure, man. Thanks for being cool with the surprise. We obviously couldn't tip our hand with this one, but we hope you think it was worth it.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, you.
Dominic.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks,
You as well.
Dominic.
Right, thank you.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you, Dominic.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year.
And I'll go check out the 2001 exhibition as well. So.
Yay.
In New York.
Cool. See you there. James, you're there, right? You're still on the line, of course.
Yeah, I'm here.
You got a question, bud?
Yeah, I had two quick questions. I grew up in the Bronx, like Stanley, born and raised, and I've lived in different places. I lived in Los Angeles actually for a few years, but I lived for 1 year in England, in just in a little town north of London called Potter's Bar.
Oh, Potter's Bar, yes.
Yeah, you know it. And that was back in 76. It was 1 year. It was the second half of 76, first half of 77. My mother married a Brit, and we first went over there before he came back, and we all came back to New York. So my sisters would always go shopping in St. Albans, and they would always ask me, we'll go to St. Albans, and I never went. Now, I didn't know Stanley yet, and I didn't really discover Kubrick until like 81. But did he really just go to the shops and walk around St. Albans?
Yes, I go with him.
Wow.
Very often, and I remember going around the biggest supermarket at that time, Sainsbury's, and we would just go down there, and he, we'd go around with a trolley, and he'd read the labels and everything he bought, and we could walk around St. Albans freely, and no one seemed to take notice, or if they knew who he was, they never said anything. So, and one of the reasons why Stanley moved to England was so he could work totally unimpeded, because, if he'd lived in Los Angeles, you can imagine, it would have been mayhem with studio executives and God knows what. So, he just loved the fact that he lived at that sort of more than an arm's distance from that, It was special and precious to him, too.
Where in late 76, early 77, was it pre-production for The Shining? Where were you with what was going on at that time?
What period?
Late 76, early 77.
No, he'd been doing post-production and release of, he'd been doing release on Barry Lyndon, and he was looking for material. He was looking for The Shining to do, in actual fact. Okay. And he didn't find it. He read through hundreds and hundreds of novels, to find the right one. He wanted, he wanted to do a horror movie, but he wanted to do something different with it. And I think he said to me, when he read the first 10 pages of The Shining, he knew we'd found it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I had one other quick question for you. Have Tony Ziera, his next film, have you helped him at all with his new film on Eyes Wide Shut?
Well, that's actually how we met, because he was making that, and he came around to interview me for that. And then a couple of weeks later, he came back and interviewed me some more. And then a couple of weeks after that, he came back and interviewed me some more. And it's all about Eyes Wide Shut. And then the next time I saw him, he was with his wife, and who was also his producer. And they said that they'd been, watching the footage, and they said that would I mind if they made a documentary about me? And so I didn't really know what to say. I mean, I must say it's like a huge public therapy session when you get into it, really. And so, I mean, I know that he's gone really way abroad to find as many people as he could who was involved with that project. And, but originally that's the reason why we met, was just because of the Eyes Wide Shut project.
I think Mark,
it's going to be interesting.
Mark, yeah. Are you there, Mark?
Yeah, Leon, I have one question, which is, you worked, it's when you started with Stanley in the late 70s, you worked extremely hard every day for the rest of your tenure. And of course, with all the stresses and exhaustion, but I'm wondering if you have like a memory of a day where everything went right, like a golden day.
It's a good question.
One example.
I have the memory of a day where I thought everything had gone right. No, absolutely, and it was an amazing realization that probably I hadn't. I was driving from the house where we were watching Rushes for Eyes Wide Shut, and I was driving down the road and I was feeling so pleased with myself, and I was knocking off when I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. Oh, great! And I didn't do that, and I don't know why I did that. I just put my foot hard on my brake and nearly caused a pile up on the main Harpenden St Albans Road. And what I hadn't done was to deliver a phone message that had been rather important. But no, he took something like that. Let me tell you the remarkable thing about Stanley. If you told him, if you screwed up and you told him, he said, "Look, I'm really sorry I screwed up," he was fine with that. But if I'd said to him, "Oh, I tried to call them and I couldn't get through," or if I tried to spin it in any way, he could smell bullshit from about 5,000 miles, and that's when he exploded. That's when he exploded. As if anyone tried to con him, and with an excuse, and he'd have a really stock answer. If someone sort of went into this convoluted reason why something hadn't happened, he'd say, "They said, right. In other words, you forgot."
Right.
and that was it. That was it. And then, as we say, he'd go incandescent. That's the way I always used to describe it. He'd kind of glow and then explode. Yeah.
Okay, Stephen, real quick. You got a question to get in, and then we're doing our last call.
Yes, I've got a quick question. We all know that Ridley Scott asked Stanley to see if he could have some of the aerial footage from The Shining. Were you around when that business was taking place? When Scott's company contacted you guys to ask for that? Could you tell us a little bit about that? About how that went on?
It was pretty much a direct no. I mean, he was very clear about some things, and so he's pretty clear about that. And it's the same thing happened, Full Metal Jacket. We filmed so much of it on a huge area of East London that was, a gas factory, a gas factory, and so much of it had been designed by the same French company who designed, a lot of Hue City. By coincidence. I always call that the luck of Stanley Kubrick. That kind of thing could happen all the time, and it was condemned. It was condemned, and they were going to build a freeway through it. So we were given permission to just go blow everything up that we needed to blow up.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a naughty boy's dream world. It really was. And so, but there was hundreds after we shot there. And the film was released. There were hundreds and hundreds of, right from U2 and other pop bands wanting to film on those sites, and other film companies wanted to use it for their site of sort of dissolution of the world. And but he always for some I would say some reason, I understand it completely. They were sacred places to him. They were sacrosanct, and he never wanted people to go there. So that was, at least that was his excuse. But no, It was like that. It was always very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
Just like, very often people would say, oh, can we use a little piece from Hell in 2001 for Pink Floyd came and asked that question, and he just would never let them do it. He'd never let them do it. Yeah.
But of course, he did provide some of the outtake footage for Blade Runner, the original theatrical cut. Did he not?
Right.
I mean that.
Yeah, he did, and yes, he also allowed. What was his name? He was a very up and coming Warner Brothers studio director, and he allowed him to show some stuff of The Shining on a television screen in one of his scenes, or in a couple of his scenes actually.
Oh, really?
I can't remember his name now. But anyway, I mean, he was selective about that kind of stuff,
I think The Shining was shown on, I can't remember what film it was, but it was at a drive-in movie in somebody's movie. I think there was a scene in a drive-in, and it was shown on. I think
you're right.
Twister.
Yeah.
Twister.
Probably,
Twister. Yeah. Good call,
Twister,
James.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Twister. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Twister, yeah.
Good call, James.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Leon, we're not gonna do another epic 7.5 hour chat. I want to let you go.
Okay.
We couldn't be more grateful. We did ask last we spoke and you sounded game for it. There were a couple of little snippets, a little soundbite, if you would be so kind, just something that we could keep you in the podcast and in the hearts and minds of all our listeners forever and ever. It's a couple of really short pieces of text. If you'd be willing to say them.
Of course. Do anything for you guys. I think you're great at what you do, and thank you for it.
Oh, thank you, Leon.
Right. Okay, got it.
Take one.
Got it. Okay. Hello, listeners. You keep that laughing. Hello, listeners. Please, come forward. Here, it makes no difference whether you know the password or not. This is Kubrick's universe.
Can we just have another 25? Thank you, Leon. That was fantastic.
Who do you think you are, Stanley Kubrick?
Oh my gosh!
Save that line too.
Definitely saving that line. Oh my gosh!
Oh, it's been great. Thank you so much, you guys.
Can't thank you.
Thank you, Leon.
Let's let Leon get on with the better part of his day.
Okay, and I can't thank you enough for what you do. I really can't. I think it's wonderful.
That means a lot to
us. I really do.
Thanks, Leon. We are really dedicated to what we do, and
I know.
It's great that you've joined us to help the cause. We've joined you to help your to help the cause, I
guess. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It means so much to me that you were willing to go along with my little scheme of doing this kind of an episode. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And
thank you.
James, Mark, anything you guys want to add?
Oh, just thanks for your time. We love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, and I can't wish you guys a happy New Year more than they do.
Happy 2020.
Yeah.
Here's to a great 2020.
Let's hope.
Okay. Yeah, let's hope. Right.
And there you have it. The entry of Kubrick's universe into the pantheon of prank phone calls. We'd like to thank each of the people who took part in every one of these calls. We couldn't have done it without you. No, seriously. It would have been just us talking alone with Leon again. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Also, our deepest thanks to Leon for being perhaps the most gracious and charming prankster in the history of these types of phone calls. And of course, our thanks to Tony Sierra, who directed Filmworker. If you haven't seen it, you must. If you have, go watch it again at the end of this episode.
Hello, Earthlings. I am GAL, your artificially intelligent host. Update just in. Tony Sierra is currently planning to release an extended director's cut of Filmworker in the not-too-distant future, so why not wait for that? Keep your hands clean, and I'll see you beyond the infinite. Back to you, Jason.
You know, when we set out to create the world's first continuously running podcast for all things Stanley, we agreed that the show should always try to do just a few things and simply do them well. We wanted it to be informative and insightful, but also entertaining and fun. We definitely had a lot of fun making this one. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to it half as much as we enjoyed making it, well then, I guess we enjoyed it twice as much as you. I'm kidding. Listen, thanks for listening, friends. Keep safe and be well. We wish you and your loved ones good health and lots of strength during the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you've lost a loved one to the coronavirus, as we ourselves have, we send you our most sincere condolences and ask only that you be strong, helpful, and kind while planet Earth tries to crawl its way back to some semblance of normalcy. On behalf of Stephen Rigg, Mark Lentz, and James Marinaccio, I'm Jason Furlong, saying thank you and sending you all our love from Kubrick's universe.
This show comes to you from the Stanley Kubrick Appreciation Society.
Thank you for listening to the Stanley Kubrick Podcast. Come back soon.